Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I want to point at a couple of things Bitcoin related, show you some quite nice charts, and then when we get to the proper charts at the end, we need to spend a little bit of time on the dollar on the DXY because that thing is breaking out, and this could well be something that we have to pivot and adapt to. So first things first, I said, look, no, we flushed the excess sentiment right into that half cycle low. Day 32 cycle low was printed, or half cycle low, and we reset the fear and greed index from around 72, 74 back to neutral. So the half cycle lows, of course, function to flush the sentiment, and that seems to be what we've done so far. That means we have not yet invalidated the classic Dalai Lama pattern. So is it possible that we could Dalai Lama our way out of here? I think so, as you'll see in just a minute. BCB was causing a stir on Twitter of late, having posted this idea that the top has come in, we will get rejected at resistance here, and then likely die, something like this. I think what he's suggesting is we're about here at the moment, and therefore what comes next is this. So it's a market, anything can happen, but I did say that this is actually the number one pushback I get regarding my left translated cycle top. So my left translated cycle top, in case you're unfamiliar, would look something like this, right? We would continue to blow off, and then we'd spend the remainder of the cycle in a bear market. And the number one pushback I get is from BCB watchers, viewers, fans that say, no, we're not going to make a new high. Instead, we're going to roll over from here because we've just hit the fib retracement. And I said, look, the reason I disagree with this is that this essentially is all predicated on this fractal that predicts that we go as low as around 3.5K for Bitcoin. And if that unfolds, I really think we see a minor death spiral. And I also think that a lot of people, myself included, will lose confidence in Bitcoin. Okay, so I don't think Bitcoin can do this because I don't think Bitcoin's going to die. Now, I don't know if blockchain backer, I've asked him a bunch of times, no one seems to want to answer this question. Do you really think the Bitcoin price could, if this fractal were to play out, go all the way to 3.5K and Bitcoin would still be Bitcoin? Would it still be the same thing? I don't think it would. Remember, right now, pre-halving, the average miner needs around 18K per Bitcoin just to break even. And in around 90 days, maybe slightly less than that, we're going to halve. And then they're going to need double 18K, right? They're going to need that 36K just to break even. So if we now push down to 3.5K, we're going to lose a whole heap of miners. Huge setback to the Bitcoin network, to the security. The vulnerability to 51% attack goes from being impossible and unfeasible to actually within the realm of possibility. We will have increased centralization of miners. I know it's the nodes that pertain to the centralization and decentralization, but the facts are the facts. If we lose a bunch of the miners, right, the security of the network goes down and the concentration or the centralization of the actual mining rigs goes up. So all of this, to me, says this is how Bitcoin dies. And I think if this fractal were to play out and we were to head down towards 3K, then what likely comes next is zero, right? I don't really see a scenario where we even get to 8 or 9K and then recover. I don't really think that's how this works. I think we either continue to print new highs and do Bitcoin things, or Bitcoin dies, right? So I'd love to know if blockchain backer, agrees with that, or if he thinks we go to 3K and then base and start a new cycle all over again. I don't personally see it. And I still favor my left translated cycle top, right? My left translated cycle top idea has not yet been invalidated. That is still on the table. But objectively speaking, so is this, okay? It's a market, anything can happen. Now, is the probability of this from BCB high? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Like I said, I don't think Bitcoin dies, and I don't think it goes all the way down here. But it is a market, anything can happen, and we have to be open to all outcomes. So for now, though, nothing has really changed, right? This is not yet invalidated, this idea, right? And I think even in the worst case scenario, what we get is some kind of pullback and basing, something like this, and then we continue on normal 4-year cycle behavior for Bitcoin. We are, of course, only about 90 days away from the halving, so let's see, right? Let's see. But BCB certainly causing a stir with that one. On a slightly more positive note, Argentina has just marked its first Bitcoin-denominated rental agreement. So the tenant will settle the monthly payment of $100 worth of Bitcoin to the landlord via Finwind, their national centralized exchange, and payments will be made to a designated address during the first 5 days of each month. So again, I don't really see Bitcoin dying. It seems to be being adopted, and I honestly think that adoption is going to continue to accelerate worldwide, especially as this thing has just become validated as a global asset upon the launch of the spot Bitcoin ETFs in America. The charts still look pretty good if you know where to look, in my opinion, right? The CME futures experienced its second largest weekly sell volume ever, second only to the FTX collapse. So it's the third largest weekly volume overall, with 2019's downtrend break being the driving factor in the second place. So what to make of all this? Was this capitulation? If we take a look at this chart, We had the 2019 downtrend break right here, right? Huge capitulation spike. We had the FTX blow up right here. Again, huge capitulation volume spike. And here we are, right? Current day, one of the largest volume spikes in the history of Bitcoin. And here's the key point, right? Take a look at the price. The price barely moved. Barely moved at all. To me, that's bullish. Not to mention, we are technically speaking still holding above the top of this Ichimoku cloud. And if we were to get a pullback, then a bounce off of the blue or the maroon is the area in which you would look to play a bounce with a stop loss just below. So those prices currently sit at 36-ish and 32 respectively. Not a massive drop, really, if we're being honest, especially not for Bitcoin. You know, a pullback to here and a bounce, or even to here and a bounce, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, would it? And not to mention, like I said, at the moment, we're still holding above the top of the Ichimoku cloud. And all of this in the face of everyone turning bearish, right? Everyone is very, very scared. Everyone's bearish. Everyone's given up faith. Everyone has given up hopes for some reason. But take a look at this. We go back to this cycle back here, right? 1 touch, 2 touch, breakout, retest, resumption, parabola, right? What have we got at the moment? 1 touch, 2 touch, breakout, retest, looking for that resumption. If we can get it, right? Expect a parabola. And again, it's just another example of another chart that seems to be pointing to this. Structurally, quite similar to this as well, right? Bart Simpson, bit of a grind, up, consolidation, up. Where are we now? Well, Bart Simpson, right? Bit of a grind, up, consolidation, up. So it tells us to be open to seeing higher prices. I know it doesn't really make a lot of sense in a lot of people's minds that what comes next is this, especially after the move we've had. But, you know, it's not actually beyond the realm of possibility, since that's exactly what we did here. And getting into the charts, here's Bitcoin, right? As it stands, objectively speaking, what has changed? Absolutely nothing. We're still making higher lows, right? We're still making higher highs. We still have not printed a daily or weekly failure for the cycle count. And as I keep showing of late, we can drag this thing across, stretch it out a little bit, and suddenly it doesn't look too dissimilar from what we've done in previous 60-day consolidation cycles prior to moves higher. So I don't think we can count this thing out yet. I don't think it's really very sensible to be super bearish here, at least until we lose these lows and start making lower lows. So we'll see, right? We will see. As it stands, I currently have no real reason to be super bearish here. With that said, the DXY is getting a breakout. So you can see by my yellow squiggle, this is what I was hoping to have instead of have to entertain the idea that we might have already found the 3-year cycle low and this breakout is for real. But undeniably, this is now breakout, retest, and confirmation by a strong push off and resumption for the DXY. So undeniably, this thing is starting to get more bullish and we do actually have to be open to seeing this. Now, there could be a saving grace in the euro dollar as discussed, right? I said, look, we got a bear flag potentially, and if we were to break down, then we would need to be holding this support. If indeed the euro dollar is about to follow this line and break down, right? If we're about to lose this final line of support, then the dollar is going to be bid. The Dixie is going to run up because, of course, this makes up 57% of the Dixie, and we will likely confirm that 3-year cycle low for the DXY, okay? So not the scenario I wanted, believe me, not the scenario I wanted. And we really are down to the last chance saloon here because, and we clean this chart up a bit for you on the euro dollar, if we are to bounce off support strongly here, right? If we're to do something like this and continue higher for the euro dollar, then of course, what we will see is the DXY roll over and it will appear from slightly higher up, something like this. Now, if I flip this into a weekly chart for you and move my yellow squiggles out the way and grab this fractal tool, right? There is this probably this last final chance, right? There's one final chance that if we are indeed going to roll over one more time and not have this as the cycle low, then perhaps we could see a failed weekly cycle that should fail in the next 2 weeks. It would look something like this, right? And then on that breakdown, we'll say, yeah, okay, that is not the cycle low especially when we take it out and we've got one more chance to roll over. And of course, nothing changes from the primary hypothesis. But this is clutching at straws a bit. I'm not going to lie. Okay, this is clutching at straws. It's a possibility. It's one scenario that we do get another week or two of upside. We double top with this 104 level from back here, and then we roll over. That is a possibility. And for that to happen, like I said, we would probably need to see the euro dollar hold this support and bounce off. That would almost certainly need to happen if we've got a chance of seeing the weekly cycle for the Dixie fail. But as it stands, objectively speaking, we have not done this, have we? And instead, we apparently are trying to confirm a 3-year cycle low here. I'm going to get rid of this yellow squiggle for now because the charts are the truth and the charts don't lie, right? Right now, breakout retest, strong resumption off. So we can draw a line here and say this is the last chance, right? This is the final line in the sand. If we do not reject here, something like this, right, into that 3-year cycle low, then what's going to happen is we're going to break out and say, yeah, with 100% certainty now, that's the 3-year cycle low. And it tells us that we've probably got a full 12 months from this point forward to see the dollar run higher. So that's not something I wanted to see. It's not a conversation I wanted to be having today, but the charts are the truth and the charts don't lie, right? This is currently the most probabilistic outcome at the moment. Get above this and all bets are off. We will confirm that 3-year cycle low and look to head higher. So all eyes on the dollar and the euro dollar over the next couple of weeks. I wonder if with a dollar running for a couple of weeks, this makes a bunch of sense for gold, right? I wonder if we see the gold break down over the next couple of weeks. I wonder if we look for a short opportunity as we get that counter trend bounce in the Dixie, and then we can do the swap on the way down for gold. I don't know. We'll see, right? We will see. Oil still doing a whole heap of nothing, so not much to report there. And the stock futures are quite red at the moment, but we are, of course, in the stock market looking to confirm a new daily cycle, looking to confirm that this count is correct instead of this one telling us to be open to more downside. So we're going to get to find out today or tomorrow probably. Other than that, not a great deal has changed, of course, because it was a public holiday yesterday. So we'll continue to monitor this thing one day at a time. We'll continue to stay unbiased and flexible and open to all outcomes. In the meantime, I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.